All right, everybody, welcome to an early edition, the
Mm.
early bird edition of Leafs Talk. JD Bunkis, Sam McKee. Buddy, was there any doubt in your mind when Nylander took that puck in overtime that he was going to score?
I was sitting here with my wife,
Yeah.
Allison, and when he picked it up, when he cut back towards the boards with that
Mhm.
pivot, that was just so gross. I'm like, he's going to score. Said that out
100%.
loud. Said that out loud. I'm
Yeah.
like, he's going to score. The way he cuts in, he's scored with that edge work in overtime, like a lot of times in his career. And just as soon as he cut in, shoulder down, I'm like, he takes it to the net. He's going to score.
You
I,
guys,
that is awesome.
yeah,
Just
you
awesome.
guys named the last podcast. I think it's Nylander plays Hometown Hero, the one I didn't get to do. You, Kipper, and Born. I don't, it's just same it the same thing.
Yeah.
Just give it the same name. You said that he didn't get player of the game, he didn't
Yeah.
get the
He was
first
the
star.
third star.
Yeah, but dude, that's going to be the way things are going for
Living
Nylander.
put in a call. He's like, you can't give him
No,
first star.
no, I was going to say the way things are going for him, that's going to be the worst thing that happens to him all year. They're going to look back on this year for Nylander and be like, what was the bad thing? He's like, there was one game where I got third star in Sweden. That's it. That's the
Oh
worst thing that's going to happen.
man.
He is living a charmed life. There's
Yeah.
nobody that is more in the zone and having a greater time than him. Like if you had to power rank who you would want to be on the planet right now, he's in the conversation. The guy's in Sweden showing his teammates around, having the time of his life, getting big hugs from Matt Sundin, scoring game-winning goals in front of his entire family in Sweden. He's going to get paid, I don't know, $11 million next year. He's
Mm-hmm.
going to hold this team over a barrel or the rest of the league if he ends up going somewhere else. Like, may we all just experience 1 year of our lives. And he obviously not like this, but just may we all have 1 year that we can look back and say, that was our year. That was
But,
the year I had.
but a year, I'd take an hour of Willie's life
Yeah.
right now. Are you
Oh my
crazy?
God.
It's like
Yeah, let me
right
microdose
now,
Nylander's life right
right
now. Let me
right
just get a
now
little
until noon.
microdose.
Right now till
Yeah.
noon. I'll take that. Like, give me. That. Listen, that was just awesome. And I think there's probably a lot of people that are wondering why they had to go over there during the regular season, and it's a big thing for them, and they're fighting the jet lag and taking them out of the rhythm of the regular season. But to me, it's easy to say this now, but this week has just been 10 out of 10. And I think a lot of that has to do with being a 35-year-old Leaf fan with all the content of Matt Sundin and
Yeah.
the Swedish connections, and just seeing that picture yesterday of Willie getting hugged by Matt Sundin with their huge grins on their face. Like, I was like, give this guy 13. I don't care. Keep him a Leaf. Like, he likes Sundin. Sundin likes him. Keep him. Like, it's just, this has been an amazing success for the Leafs, and the type of trip that maybe can bring them together a little bit. Like, there's no way they haven't had an incredible time, and to have it end like this is just amazing.
Dude,
What do you
that's the
think
most
about?
emotion I've ever seen Michael Nylander show. I'm old enough to remember his career.
It wasn't.
That was I can't believe he did that. That's how stoked the Nylander family is for them playing games here, and the way that Williams playing is that he's got his dad jumping out of his seat, and yeah, the whole Nylander clan celebrating like that. I agree with you. I was gonna do this. I'll probably do this a little bit more long
Mhm.
form on my pod tomorrow morning, just about what this has meant to the Leafs. But I'm with you. I think there's a long haul element here, and now the Leafs got 4 points. If I can't imagine, I know this is probably a little bit of straw manning. I can't imagine that there are too many people like this, but I saw a touch of it. The whole, hey, this is really hard on the team, the regular season. Why are they playing regular season games here? Come on, for all the teams, right? The Leafs regular season, the team that we talk about, hey,
Great
meaningless
point.
regular season, and then someone's gonna actually turn around and say, how could they do this to our precious regular season? Like, shut up. This was
It's an
awesome.
awesome point.
This was really, really cool. This was great. And I
Yeah.
do think, at least I hope, that the Leafs will have experienced this and
Mhm.
that it will make them tighter as a team, that they're going to come back from this thing and they're going to maybe not look great the first week back. That first game, who do they play next
Chicago
Friday? It's
at 2 p.m. on Black Friday.
actually that's good for them because they'll have they better look amazing in that game because they'll have
Amazing.
the upper hand on
Oh, yeah.
Sweden time.
Yeah.
So that game they better dominate. But after that, maybe they look a little sleepy. I'm a big believer in team sports, guys coming together and feeling a connection to one another. And
For
I think that you
sure.
actually saw it with their play, the way that they've just been a little bit nastier in front of their own net and sticking up for one another lately. I think that this is a 20 out of 10 positive trip.
Yep.
There's zero negatives for me.
100% agree. And like, yeah, if they lay an egg on next Friday against the Blackhawks, I think we'll all survive. I think, it's like, yep,
Oh, we
we'll.
watched the Leafs lay an egg in a regular season game. It
Oh
would have
no,
never happened in Toronto.
they
Shut
would
up.
never play down to an
Yeah.
opponent
Yeah,
ever. It's
exactly.
like, I think a lot of it just has to people be like, spin zone for people who didn't like this trip. Be like, hey, you have an excuse now for when they ultimately fail at the end of the year, like they always do. You can be like,
No,
was
I
that Sweden trip?
Sweden trip, yeah. Too many meatballs.
Yeah.
I don't
Uh,
I think we're strawmanning a bit. I think most people think
Good.
that this was awesome and that, yeah, it's really hard to dislike it. But
Can
yeah, he
I?
does.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
go
Go ahead.
ahead.
No, I was just
I
gonna
was
say
just gonna
that.
say he does tie the NHL active streak, 17 points or 17 games in a row with a point.
Mhm.
Tying Connor McDavid is pretty cool. I didn't realize Sundin had such a long point streak with the Nordiques until today.
Yeah.
That was a news flash to me. But yeah, obviously, given the different scoring eras, this is just unbelievably impressive, right? Like, just finding a way to be around it. Because I actually thought this was going to be the ultimate cheapy one where he continued the streak and then he scores the game winner, and you're like, all right, okay, yeah, never mind. Never
Mhm.
mind that cheap angle.
So, can we talk about how the Leafs played one good period of hockey combined to get 4 points in this on this trip? Now, is that allowed or?
You think they played a full good period?
No, I was gonna say combined. I guess throughout the two games, they played a good period.
Yeah, I'll tell you this though. This is where that I do give them a reprieve. Like, did you think Minnesota was awesome? Did you think Detroit
No,
was awesome? Did
I
you
think
think that?
Minnesota's bad. I think they're
Yeah,
bad, and the
yeah,
Leafs were so much better than them for a lot of that game, and they just completely stopped playing. Like they
hmm
got up three. Morgan Riley scores that goal. Was at the start of the third, right? That he kind of
yeah.
sifts one through, and then they did not take a stride for the rest of that period. Like it was a really, really bad showing for them. But for them to get the point, you can wash it away. But yeah, like I wouldn't say that the Leafs play throughout these two games in Sweden to get 4 points is excellent, but I'm sure there'll be lots of stuff for the coaching staff to have a look at after this, being like, yeah, we sucked a lot during this. Like there was not a ton of great play for them, but that's what I guess they are. They're top heavy, their skill. They can pull through this kind of stuff. But yeah, I didn't think they played very
hmm
well for a lot of this trip.
Yeah, the thought I had coming out of this was thank God Nylander was so pivotal and important to this
For
series,
sure.
because if you were a Swedish hockey fan and you saw all these games, you went, "We've got better guys in Modo." Like this is this is not better
Modo
hockey,
could
right?
beat these guys, no
Yeah,
problem.
like I I did not think that the entire trip was very good
No.
hockey. I to me, this is not a effort thing. This is not a going out and boozing too much thing. Maybe there's a little touch of that, but no, for me, this is just they're creatures of habit, dude.
Mm-hmm.
To play a professional athlete now more so than ever, just getting them off their schedule for a little while it screws them up. These guys need their meal at the same time, their nap at the same time, the game to start at the same time, right? And you can get away with it for a day or two, but being thrown in for travel like this, think about how you feel when you travel, right? Like the first couple of days where you go, what time is it? What? And then imagine having to perform at a peak athletic level. I'm not trying to make excuses for these guys. I
Yeah, I
don't
know.
think that they played very well. I think you're allowed to say that, but this isn't one where I go, oh my God, the warning signs and the this and the that. I'm chalking this one up to they played in two games in Sweden and all the other teams looked the exact same way. It didn't look like NHL hockey for large stretches of play.
Yep, that's fair. By the way, jet lag, I think is one of the biggest farces in the world. It's easy to get over jet lag. I honestly don't really get jet lag. You just power
Mm.
through, power through. You're just like, oh, you're a little tired. Guess what? Everybody's tired all the time. Yeah, it's just what it is. Just power through that jet lag. I really don't
This is
believe in
an
jet lag.
interesting take coming from a guy who literally has said to me more than any other person in my
Yeah,
entire life, I'm tired.
yeah. Guess what? That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm tired. It doesn't matter. Like, I just, jet lag doesn't change my thoughts on
Yeah.
anything. I power through it. You go on a
Yeah.
trip away, it's like, oh, I'm so tired. It's jet lag. Just have a
Yeah.
Peroni and you'll be fine. You'll get through
Yeah.
it. And I
Well,
really have no
but
problem
that's
with
the
it.
thing. No, no, no. See, but you just unlocked the biggest thing with
Yeah.
jet lag is that the biggest key to unlocking jet lag is booze.
Yeah. And guess
So,
what? They had
yeah.
some while
Yeah,
they
they
were
did.
there.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, some boys had a few drinks. Anyway, to
Yeah.
me, this is pretty excusable. Like, you
Yep.
even just think about the way the boards play here, and guys just how many times did the puck leave, like go over the boards or into a bench, or a puck bounced a weird way? It just it felt like guys were off kilter. They were having a really tough time adjusting to the arena, to the time zone, to
Mhm.
to everything, just everything about it. I will say this though, like, you mentioned that did the Leafs play a good period combined, or however we put it in this entire trip?
Yeah.
I thought that Marner, Matthews, and Nyes were super dangerous tonight. Obviously, they get on the score sheet a couple of times. I just like their game. They've been pretty quiet. I think everybody mentioned it. I'm guessing that those guys felt it a little bit and they wanted to close that road trip feeling well. But yeah, I liked their game as the line like tonight more than I have in the just recently.
This play to me is such a great just team goal. Look at Gio
Mhm.
jumping up there. I
Yeah.
like one of the Kipper's hobby horses about the Leafs is that they're not a great passing team, that they don't pass a ton from the center
Mhm.
ice position, which is something that I've always kind of watched for with them, and I kind of agree with it on them. And to see this, it's like that's nice. That's a
Yeah.
breakout where how many guys touch the puck there? Everybody goes to the right place. Nyes gets into a dangerous position with his stick up, ready to fire, puts it right on net right away. It goes in. That was a really nice goal for this line, and I
Mhm.
can't help but notice old Geo jumping up here. I
Of course.
Geo to me, I don't know. Maybe it's just because he's an old guy and he's like on Toronto time and it's 8 a.m. here, and he just like old guys they
Yeah.
work best like at 7.
Yeah.
Like maybe
I was
it's
gonna
the
say
maybe
he's
it's
been
the
up mall walking in Sweden
I was gonna
since
say maybe it's like the
6
North
a.m.
York in him. He's at like the construction
Yeah.
site at like
Yeah.
7:30 working his hardest. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is, but he had jumped today. He's had jumped the
Mhm.
whole season, but today in particular, I thought he looked faster than he's looked. Like maybe it's just they got to start games earlier for him so he can get it out of the way and have his afternoon nap.
Agree.
But he really
Agree.
was he looked awesome today. So yeah, that was a nice goal for that line. And you're right. I think the second line has kind of taken up a lot of the oxygen because they've really started to improve, especially
Mhm.
Nylander. But Bertuzzi seems to really found a role on there. Tavares has looked really good. But to me, that line needs to really get humming. And if they can get these top two lines going with what
Mhm.
they've had in the bottom half of their lineup, they can really, really start to hum here. I'm just the only thing I'm worried about is the decor, obviously. But yeah, their forward group's looking pretty deep at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. So, by the way, speaking of Gio, that goal, you're right. Just the team element of it actually
Yeah.
reminded me of. Remember when we used to watch highlights of the San Antonio Spurs ball movement,
Yeah.
where it would go like, "Hey, everybody got a touch, everybody got to," and then the Spurs they move the ball, move the ball. That was the Leafs goal. But
Have you ever
going back
watched?
to Gio,
I'm sure you've watched this. The highlight reel. What year was it? They beat the Heat in the final. Yeah, the year after Ray Allen hit that shot.
yeah,
The year they came back and it was
2014.
the final. And it's like they
Yeah,
beat the Heat in 5 games. And there's a highlight
yeah,
reel on YouTube of their
yeah. It's awesome.
passing in that series.
Yeah,
And it's just like the most beautiful basketball ever
no,
played.
it's
It's
gorgeous.
absurdly good.
It's
Anyways, that's
gorgeous.
just aside.
Yeah, I was just
After our
quick.
show,
Yeah.
go watch that. It's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, you're already on YouTube and you
Yeah.
should leave 5 stars since
Yes.
you should hit the thumbs up. You should leave 5 stars since you did those two things. I don't know how the hell Gio didn't score here. It's a great shot by Tavares. Somehow that doesn't go in. It's crossbar and down, and then Giordano, like,
False.
rewind this. This is one of the craziest bounces ever. Just how?
No,
How?
exactly a Mona Lisa there. Holy.
But just so I don't know how it's not in on the shot, but then that no part of his body, and then he dives into the net and keeps it out himself. It's just I'm at a loss for words at this thing. I sat there, I went, there's absolutely no way that this puck didn't go in the net. Which I think I'm 0 for 3 this year
Yeah.
on, oh no, they're definitely gonna blow
Blow
the
the horn.
horn. I'm 0 for 3. The refs 3 for 3. They're dead on it. They're seeing it tonight. Actually, that by the way, did you have a harder time following the puck in Sweden?
No, I think it was just 8 a.m., bud.
Okay, I don't know. I
You
don't know.
watched the game
I
in
was
bed. Your eyes
Yeah, I
open.
did. I did watch the game in bed. I won't lie. I watched, and I thought I was only gonna watch the first period in bed, and then I watched the entire game in bed. I did. No, I did. I thought it was harder to follow the puck. I felt like an American at points where I was like, "Where is it? It's over there." I was just, I don't know. I was having a tough go this morning. Okay, but yeah, I agree with you. I really like Giordano. Okay, what's next? What is next? What did you think of Wool tonight or
Didn't
today?
like
This morning? What did you think
whatever
of
it is.
Wool this morning?
Hated the first goal.
Yeah, same.
Thought the third goal was soft. Like it's a flutter puck. He sees it the whole way. Maybe it had a touch of dip on it, bit of a slider. Maybe that's why he didn't
Mhm.
like it. The other two that went in, I guess the other one was kind of from the same spot, but it was through more of a traffic. It was a nicer shot by Middleton. And the third goal, it's like that's just hockey. hard
Yeah.
puck to the front of the net, goes off a skate, goes in. It's like not many goalies are stopping that. But I think he made a couple pretty good. He's just a different style of goalie. He doesn't make like the really spectacular saves because he's really positional and he's really solid.
Mhm.
Thought he had a nice save in overtime where he kind of did the splits going to his left, I guess it would have been. He really is good at the splits. So I thought he was solid. Didn't like the first goal, but outside of that, I thought he was pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good with where the goaltending's at for the Leafs after Samsonov on was that Friday? Samsonov on Friday and Wall today. I thought he was pretty good.
So the first period was horrible. The first goal was his worst of the season so
For
far, but
sure.
also just the first period in general, it felt like he was skittish. He didn't have very good rebound control. It didn't feel like a great period. Leafs
Mhm.
didn't play very well in the first period. They were lucky though that the second half of it they just kept pucks away from Wool. And
Yeah.
I did wonder what the game would have been like had Minnesota just been able to muster a few more shots. Second, he was brilliant. One of his better periods. He made
Mhm.
some awesome saves. And then third was just kind of, yeah, fine, mediocre. So I thought that, we're watching the game. Our guys, Kipper and Bourne, they gave a ton of love to him because of the second, or like he was the story of the second intermission.
Mhm.
But overall, I just thought, yeah, the game was on
Solid.
balance, just okay.
Yeah, I didn't really think that he was much of a story, to be honest. I thought
No,
he
no.
just he played net today.
He was the story of the second period, though.
For
He
sure.
really was. The second period, he was the story, and
Yeah.
I just think like, yeah, it was a little up and down. It's just to me now he's let in a bunch of goals from the outside, which he was so good at to start the season. That was basically what was making him the undeniable starter of the Leafs, was that he wasn't letting in the softies, and now that we're starting to see a guy play more, we're starting to see those ones go in every once in a while. But yes, overall a good game.
Few point
Um,
shots, beating him.
yeah, I like just
Maybe the book, getting his
yeah.
eyes. I don't know, maybe that's something the little scouting report that other teams are seeing on him. That
I think
they're
that's just the team that was peppering it towards the net
yeah,
when
maybe
they were
that's all
getting wide
goalies.
open shooting lanes. Yeah.
Good scouting
I will
report by
say
me.
that,
Goalies get beat when they can't see it when shots from the point. Yeah, it's a new thing
yeah,
in hockey. Hasn't happened a lot.
yeah, I know. It's like we really scouted that.
I'm
I
all
will
over
say
it.
too, on the third goal for Minnesota, it made me miss watching Zuccarello on a meaningful team.
Yeah,
Guy's
he's a
just a
good
gamer,
player.
just an awesome player, just one of
Yeah.
those guys that every time you watch him, you're like, how do people he is just one of those dudes where the only thing you can say about him is underrated because no one talks about him enough,
Mhm.
but everyone gets it. Like no one actually thinks he's underrated, right? But you have to say it because we should change the definition of that. Just under discussed, right?
Mhm.
Or properly appreciated but never discussed is Matt Zuccarello. What a gamer. Anyway, the Marner slash.
Glad you brought it up. That was gonna be my next thing I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
Uh, God, I love that. That
Mhm.
was, I think, I don't know. Did you think it was a penalty beforehand? Like I thought that was just two guys kind of falling.
No, that was fine. That was a
Yeah,
fine play.
big man
Yeah.
versus small man, and
Yeah.
then he's
Crushes
pissed
him.
off, and he hacks him pretty good. But
Yeah.
holy hell, send the Oscars over to Sweden for Joel. My God, he slashed him on the shin pad, side of the shin pad. He sold that pretty good, which I get. It was on the side. It's on the shin pad. He's fine. Anyways,
I'm not
love the
commenting on
slash.
that. I think
Love
that's a
the
good play.
slash by Marner. I think honestly, since they had the meeting after
Mhm.
Marchand, they've been way better and way greasier. Like
No
I
question.
truly think that they actually have made an effort to play more like this. And I know that's resulted in a few penalties. We can look back at that Canucks game where they got a couple instigators because guys jumped in right away. But I don't care.
Mhm.
This stuff matters. And it truly like brings guys together to have greasiness on a hockey team. And even like in front of the net, they're way more gritty. Like they're just punching guys and they're always like in the face. As soon as anyone's near the goalie, they're grabbing on. They're doing way more than they have in years past. So we hated the Marchand thing, obviously, but like it has kind of changed them. I feel like I really do think that they've made a different effort since that happened to do it. So I loved it. Love the greasiness.
I don't think you can have it both ways. There's people that want this team to stick up for one another, but then they get upset if they're going to take
Yeah,
the odd
no,
penalty. Like
no,
penalties happen. Are there times where they really frustrate you? Are there really dumb penalties, right? Are there selfish penalties that
mhm,
really can drive you nuts? 100%. Does that one is that one a little borderline in that category? I would say it's borderline. If you didn't like that penalty, I could see the case for it.
mhm.
Obviously, I don't mind it though. It's just how many penalties does Mitch take in a year, right?
Yeah,
How many times has he taken a penalty, and how many times has he ever taken one where it's like he's sticking up for himself and doing one like that? I didn't mind it. It's just, hey, you're gonna bowl me over, you're gonna crush me into the ice. I'm a star player in the league. I'm gonna give you a love tap.
yeah,
I'm gonna lay the lumber on the back of your legs. I don't mind it at all. And I thought Bourne said it really well during the intermission. When is it a good time to take a penalty? Like, there's never a time where like good time, good
Yeah.
time. That was it. Just yeah, like these guys are sticking up for themselves. They're playing with a little bit more edge. I think a lot of people have been looking for that type of intensity, as you mentioned, from this team and from their star players. So I'm really not going to crucify a guy who has a moment where he shows some passion and he sticks up for himself and he takes 2 minutes that doesn't bite them in the ass. I thought that one of the bigger stories for this team was just the penalty kill on this trip in general. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how much of it has to do with just the ice in Sweden, the style of play in Sweden, the fact that it didn't feel like a ton of offensive threatening games. But yeah, they were what, 8 of 8 on the trip,
Yeah.
seven to
I don't
seven.
think they gave one up.
Yeah.
And I guess the Red Wings penalty power play is definitely better than the Wild's power play, but you
Mhm.
still got to, they had a lot of penalties and they killed them all off. And that's been one of my biggest worries with this team is their penalty killing. But I still think they gave up a lot of clean looks today. I thought, there was still a lot of zone time. There's still a lot of pressure. There's always going to be that on the power play. Your goaltender's like, the stupid old saying about your goaltender being the best penalty killer or whatever. But like, yeah, it's nice to see them not going in every penalty because it really felt like that for a stretch of games. It was, yeah, they're going to give one up or maybe two every game. Like it was
Mhm.
really, really bad there. So this is a nice little confidence builder for that unit.
Yeah. Anything else for you?
Yeah, Jobo, can we get that picture of Willie on the talk show? You can bring that up for us? Oh,
Unreal.
oh my God,
That's what
man.
I'm saying though about a year of Nylander is just he's like undeniably. It's just the
I l-
confidence to do this is just
I love that he's wearing the same shirt as the female host. They're wearing
did
the
they
same shirt.
ask him to take his tarp off? Like, was he wearing an undershirt? He showed up with something else?
I don't
Like,
know, but
what's the
this
story to this? There's no way that he just showed up to do the talk show, guns out like this. Like, I refuse. Even the confidence has to say, it. Look at the hair, the look, man. Just
I got to
he's
tell you, I
he's
might take
destroying it.
I might take down the wedding photo that's on my mantle and put this one up because this
Yeah,
picture is unbelievable.
yeah. Every Leaf fan should have this in their house.
It's so good. Like he looks
Yeah,
like he should be a movie. Like I don't even know what he looks like there, but it's just the flow is unbelievable. The smile.
yeah.
I He is such a superstar over there. I love it. And you know,
Oh,
I sent a tweet about the contract. It sucks that we have to talk about it like this, but at this point, it's gonna get done. It's gonna be more than they want. I think obviously at this point, it's gonna be. He's like, what is he, third or fourth in the league in scoring? It may be getting closer to the 12 than it is to the 11, but I think they're probably just going to get it done here. They're going to bite the bullet, right? Like, there's just no way. If he wants to be here, and you just can't let him go.
yeah. I don't think that you can just let him go, but yeah. Anyway, I don't want to do this talk
We
on
got it. Why
Montreal.
not?
Well, it's just I think that the Leafs are going to have to pay him.
Yeah.
He's said that he's been open to in-season negotiations all year long. I actually think it's such a tough thing to decide on because you're trying to buy him at a high right now, right? He's on a 17 game point streak, but I
Yep.
don't know how much the number is like fluctuating one way or the other. This isn't like live betting where he goes through a 3 game slump and then the number comes down to something. It's just the number has probably been the number. It probably hasn't changed too much. Maybe it's gone up a little bit based on the way that he's played
Yeah.
because they just know that there's going to be such a huge market for him in free agency. But yeah, let's just say if they do pay him, I'm not convinced that they should just continuously run back the idea of having all their money tied up in, you know, a couple of guys
Yeah.
from year over year over year. Like the playoff success is going to be matter to me. I love seeing a guy succeed in the regular season. I
But he
know he's
has
proven it.
succeeded. He has played well in the
He
playoffs.
has played well in the playoffs, but this team has not gotten past the first round in
Yeah.
8 years. And so I'm not just going to start giving out proclamations of the Leafs should keep the whole band together forever and ever and ever and just keep rolling back the same results because the guy's having a hot regular season. Like I'm just not doing that. I'm just not having the conversation right now. If they want to pay him, that's great. But if they want to make this the core of the team moving forward, or that this is just going to be every single year for the rest of time, I'm not doing that.
Well,
Anyway,
I don't think they need to keep all of them, but they need
yeah,
to keep him. Is
I
what
think
I would
that's
say.
pretty much the public consensus right now. Is I think it's pretty. I talked about strawman earlier. I don't think that there's people right now going, let Nylander walk. Enjoy the season and then let him walk.
No,
Who
but like
cares if he's on
you're
the
saying
team?
about the core thing about
Yeah,
running it back. You don't necessarily have to run. Anyways, we don't have to do
Yeah,
He
that's what I'm
did that.
saying. Let's just do this game. Hey, great trip in Sweden. Let's not close
Awesome,
it with
awesome trip. One more thing. I think they
Mhm.
got to find somebody to play defense outside of Benoit. He
They
scares
will.
me a lot. Again,
They will. The
he's
first
doing a
goal
good
of the
job.
game.
He's doing a good job. He's filling in there. He's doing his best. But man, they gotta fill that spot pretty quick.
Yeah, the first goal of the game is
Yeah,
Benoit just not
yeah,
being able to move and
yeah,
retrieve a puck, and then it goes across, and it's a bad goal. But so it's both guys, but he basically got completely absolved from the first goal because it was an awful let in by Wool. But
yep,
had it been a tough shot, had it been a tip, then the highlight would have gone over to the corner and been like, "Hey, what the hell happened?" A lot of lost puck battles for the Leafs
yeah.
in this game today. Just
The
thought they,
the
they
Wild,
never.
that's kind of what they got. They're like, oh,
Yeah,
they're that heavy, gritty team.
yeah,
They bleed chances the entire time, but they'll grind you down.
yeah,
They're in a tough spot with all that dead money on their cap after they bought
yeah.
out
That's it.
Parise and Suter or whatever. But yeah, they did
Mhm,
lose a lot of puck battles today, I thought. But yeah. Hey, quickly, got one more thing for you.
mhm.
Uh, is Max Domi ever going to score?
Probably not.
Gally was talking about it on the broadcast. Hey man, you're between the hash marks. How about you let her rip? Like
Mhm.
he's passing it to a guy that's basically on the goal line. I know Robertson's the shooter, but like you got to find a way to get one in the net here, buddy. Like it's what I know he's playing well and he's really helped that third line, but it'd be nice to see him shoot one in here. How many assists does he end up having this year? I don't even know. Like, is he 8 or 9 assists, 10 assists? Is he up that high? But like, I would like to see him shoot one in the net, and it just feels like he's really fighting it from that perspective. He's not shooting it when he's in the spot. Like I
Mhm.
remember him being more of a shooter when he played on other teams. Not, I know he's a pass first guy, but like, feels like he's almost afraid to shoot it at this
You
minute.
know what it's reminded me of? Cabriolet.
Yeah, he's got the afraid to shoot it syndrome. Like he just never
Yeah.
does. He's got
Put
Caberlet
it on the
syndrome.
net, man. Just
He
every once in a
does.
while. Like, obviously, you want to make the right play, and clearly you fashion yourself a playmaker. But every once in a while, you just gotta grip it and rip it. And
Yeah.
I'm surprised after he had that penalty shot, right, where he
Yeah.
just went like, "Oh my God, you can do that."
Yeah.
So
Do
do that
that.
once in a while.
Yeah. You mean
Give
like
that a go. Give
the
that a
toe
go from time to
drag
time.
rip off the back foot bar down in the shootout? Maybe try that
Yeah.
one in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to be hockey Ben Simmons, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, 20 shots in his first 16 games. So yeah, so all right, let's wrap this thing up.
Yep.
You can listen to my podcast tomorrow morning. So get that, subscribe to the JD Bunkis podcast, subscribe to Real Kipper and Born so you can see Sammy later, but you can watch him on television. So fancy. I was at the bar the other day, Thursday, watching you guys all
Yeah.
there. No sound. Like,
We're the number one sports bar show. Like
yeah, you're a
every
great bar
sports
show.
bar. Okay, at least
You guys are all handsome, so it
yeah.
works. It works. It's a good looking crew of lads. So I enjoy it in the
I was
bar.
gonna say at least Borny's hot, so it's just like
Yeah.
you get to look at him with no
At least
sound. It's
one of
like,
us.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, he looks good. At least he looks good.
Subscribe to both those shows. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at JD Bunkus, at Sam McKee. Hit the thumbs up button if you're watching this on YouTube. Hit the 5 stars if you're listening on Apple or Spotify. And you can even leave a little review if you're on Apple. One of those things would be great. We always appreciate it. We will see you. Actually, you will see him. I'm off again. It's going to be another edition of the Kipper and
Oh
Born
yeah.
you on the Friday. So it'll be you guys. And then we'll be back on. Are they going to play Saturday this week too?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Guess
did.
who?
Right. So I'll be back Saturday. God,
Kyle
what?
Kyle Dubas's Penguins, bud, on
Yeah.
Saturday
Yeah.
in
Big one.
Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Big one. So Connor Bedard and Kyle Dubas weekend coming up. So
Yeah.
make sure you're subscribed to the feed. All right. We'll see you then. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.